this video, we cover the following topics. To illustrate the power of combining techniques, let's consider the following example. In watercolor painting, mastering individual techniques is only the first step. True artistry emerges when these methods are combined to create complex, nuanced artworks. This chapter focuses on the strategic recombination of techniques to expand creative expression and refine artistic vision. Here, a single light source is used to create a shadow of a paint tube. A white crayon is used to trace around the shadow. When painted into with a wash of turquoise blue, it reveals the wax lines left by the crayon. This produces a permanent resist on the surface of the paper that prevents it from accepting watercolor. Before beginning your piece, consider what atmosphere or message you want to convey. Think about the subject matter. Whether you need reference. Perhaps do a value thumbnail to make sure that the image will read properly. Before painting, take the time to sketch your ideas, noting where each technique might be most effective. Next, nickel azo yellow is charged into the wash while it is wet. Where the wax lines are heavy, it acts as a container and prevents paints from mixing. However, nickel azo yellow is an aggressive mixer, so it finds a way to disperse. The painting is allowed to dry naturally. The process is then repeated a second time. Plan the order of techniques based on how watercolor layers interact. Here are some tried and true methods. Work from light to dark. Start with larger, loose shapes and work your way to smaller, finer details. Select non-complementary colors when layering to prevent mud. Start with foundational techniques like washes to set the tone and color palette of the piece. Flat washes, gradients, or variegated washes can be used to produce large areas of color. Using a separate piece of watercolor paper, practice combining the techniques you plan to use to test the outcome of techniques prior to applying them to a work of art. This helps anticipate how they will interact on the final piece, such as how salt or desiccant effects look over a gradient wash. Use these trials to adjust technique application, ensuring that the final combination will deliver the desired visual effect. If the outcome doesn't meet your expectations, change the variables and iterate on the idea to experiment with the effects until you are satisfied, and then apply it to the artwork. Add layers using different techniques. For example, incorporate glazing to deepen colors or lifting to highlight areas. Too many layers can create muddiness or a busy appearance. Be gentle when applying layers to prevent reactivating the paint beneath. When creating a successful painting, combining techniques is key to achieving harmony and cohesion within the composition. Each technique contributes something unique to the final outcome, whether it's adding texture, controlling value, or creating movement. The skill lies not in the individual execution of each technique, but in how they are blended seamlessly to create a unified piece. A balanced mix of approaches allows the artist to manage different aspects of the painting without overwhelming the viewer or detracting from the overall impact. Combining techniques also allows for greater flexibility and problem-solving during the painting process. As the work evolves, certain approaches might be adjusted or reworked to complement the overall mood or direction of the piece. This adaptability helps the artist stay responsive to the painting as it develops, using techniques to guide the viewer's eye or emphasize a narrative. While each technique plays its own role, their combination should ultimately lead to a cohesive vision that feels complete and intentional. Add interest with techniques that create texture and detail, such as splattering, using a sponge, dry brushing, or any of the sgraffito methods. Alternately, experiment with granulating pigments and introduce water at different stages of drying to produce textures. Finally, when multiple techniques come together, the painting gains a richness and complexity that can elevate even the simplest of compositions. Each method brings its own visual language to the paper, contributing to a final image that feels layered and multifaceted. A darker wash of turquoise blue is mixed and painted into the negative space around the paint tubes. Then, a silica desiccant packet is sprinkled into this wash to produce a texture. When it's dry, the desiccant is removed. Through thoughtful planning and experimentation, artists can explore how the blending of techniques enhances the storytelling potential of their work, leaving the viewer with a lasting impression. Finally, remove the tape to reveal the work of art produced by the innovative combination of techniques. The integration of multiple techniques should feel natural, as if each one is supporting the next. For instance, a method used to create depth in one area might be paired with a contrasting technique to enhance focus or draw attention to a particular section. Ensure that no one technique overwhelms the others unless it serves a specific artistic purpose. The techniques should work together to enhance the composition, not compete for attention. Maintain a cohesive color scheme across techniques to unify the piece. Disparate techniques can be tied together through the use of consistent hues or tones. Comprehensive watercolor isn't just a book, it's a companion for your artistic journey. With detailed explanations, visual examples, and hundreds of videos, it meets you wherever you are in your watercolor adventure. Discover how watercolor works, why it behaves the way it does, and how you can harness its unique qualities to create stunning art. Comprehensive Watercolor offers a clear, approachable guide to mastering this beautiful medium. Take the next step in your watercolor journey and get your copy of Comprehensive Watercolor today. You'll find the links to purchase in the description below. Choosing the right watercolor supplies can feel overwhelming, but the Ultimate Watercolor Product Guide has you covered. Packed with recommendations, tips, and insights, this guide helps you navigate the art supply aisle with confidence, so you can focus on creating. This free guide accompanies the book Comprehensive Watercolor, an interactive guide for learning to paint with watercolor. Download your free copy of the Ultimate Watercolor Product Guide today by clicking the link located in the video description below or visiting mandikins.com. Thank you for watching. Tap the archer to subscribe and the bell to be notified when I post new content. To continue your watercolor journey, click a video from one of the playlists above.